Welcome to another webinar from PALCUS. This one in particular is part of our United Through Heritage virtual event series, and we'll get into that a little bit later, talking in specifics about what that series is all about. My name is Angela Simoes. I'm here with my co-directors, Elidio Pereira from Florida and Denise Borges from California. So welcome to both of you. Thank you for joining. We're here to make sure that everybody is clear on what it is that PALCUS is and what we do, because there's still a lot of questions about, are you a club? Are you a fraternal? What exactly do you do? So just going to spend a few minutes here talking about what it is that PALCUS is and what we do. Let's see. All right. So first, this series, the United Through Heritage series, is made possible by FLAD, and so we do have a little video for that.
Levar os portugueses mais longe. Ser uma ponte entre Portugal e os Estados Unidos da América. Esta é a missão da Fundação Luso-Americana para o Desenvolvimento. A FLAD nasceu em 1985 na sequência do Acordo das Lajes e por aqui passaram até hoje milhares de pessoas e ideias que ajudámos a transformar em realidade. Promovemos a partilha de conhecimento e experiências através de bolsas de estudo, estágios, prémios e conferências unindo os dois lados do Atlântico. Trabalhamos diretamente com a comunidade portuguesa nos Estados Unidos. Queremos contribuir para que o papel dos luso-americanos seja cada vez mais forte e para que as origens portuguesas sejam continuamente celebradas. Nesta ligação atlântica surgem, claro, os Açores. Pela sua importância geoestratégica de segurança e defesa, científica e cultural, são um ponto essencial na atividade da FLAD. Somos ciência, educação, arte e relações transatlânticas. Há 36 anos a contribuir para o desenvolvimento de Portugal e dos portugueses.
So we also have our sponsor to thank Licor Beirão. They've been a good partner of ours, so we thank them. Also to Portugalia Marketplace in Fall River, Massachusetts. And our sponsors, UMass Lowell, the Navigator Company, and MD VIP. Thank you for making this series possible. So what is PALCUS? So we've been around for 30 years. We are the only national organization that advocates on a national level for the Portuguese American community. And so, we're not religious-based. We aren't based on a particular region. We represent all Portuguese Americans, no matter where you're from. And our whole mission is to promote the Portuguese culture, our community's accomplishments, professionally, politically, culturally, academically, and foster stronger ties between the US and Portugal. So that is our overall mission. I would strongly encourage everyone to take a look at our annual report. They're actually this year's and last year's. It's on our website for everybody to see. So you can actually see the breadth of initiatives that we undertake every year. And then there's also financial information where you can see that, when it comes to sponsors for these types of events or membership dues or grants that we get, you can see exactly where all of that money is spent. So that way there's complete transparency as to money comes in and money goes out. So I'm not going to read, this whole mission and vision directly. This is on our website as well. But that is our overall mission of the organization. We focus our efforts in 3 key pillars: advocacy, leadership, and community. Advocacy from yes, we work with, the caucuses in the House of Representatives and the Senate, and we have other government relations contacts, but that's more from here's how the Portuguese American community feels about something. We are not a lobbying organization. In fact, we cannot be a lobby organization because of our 501c3 status. So we do work with those caucuses to make sure that they are kept up to date on how the community feels about certain things and the community's position on certain things, but we do not influence policy in any way. We have a strong advocacy around Portuguese language and trying to secure funding for Portuguese language programs. We do host things like congressional receptions to maintain those relationships. And as many of you know, we have been directly addressing the consular services issues that our community is facing throughout throughout the country. And so that's just a sample of some of the things that fall under advocacy. Leadership is very much based on youth leadership. And we've had scholarships and internships and things like this for a number of years. But one of the newest things that we have launched is the Next Gen Leadership Academy. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but it's really meant to bring together young Portuguese Americans, whether they're still in school, young professionals, create a strong network to help each other, and also provide the connections that you would need to be successful in your career, have workshops that will help you be successful in your career, that sort of thing. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but that's leadership. And then community is really all about how can PALCUS serve the Portuguese American community at large. And we do this in a number of ways. At a very basic level, we have a series of webinars like this one. We have our newsletters that go out both on a weekly and monthly basis. And we are currently the only source of national data in a number of different ways. We have a database of organizations and Portuguese-owned businesses, Portuguese American elected officials, educational opportunities. So every school that offers Portuguese, whether it's a community school, high school, college, or language school, as well as schools or other entities that offer internships, scholarships, that sort of thing. So we have a whole database on that. And then of course there's all the data from our surveys that we do. And then we also promote the arts because we've collaborated on an online art gallery. So one thing that you'll see that is not here is business. And that is because the U.S. Portugal Chamber of Commerce is very focused on that. And we partner very closely with them whenever it comes to something regards to business. So not to say that we don't ever touch it, but we sort of leave it to that group that is solely focused on business and business development. And we join with them whenever it's relevant. So just a little bit more about the advocacy part. When I mentioned Portuguese language funding, we have Star Talk, which is a program from the US government that provides funding for lesser taught languages. Portuguese used to be a part of that program. It was taken out of that program in the last administration. And so we've been working very hard to remedy that and get it reinstated. Of course, you all know about the consular services issues. We've sent letters to Secretary Nunes. We have been hosting these Q&A webinars, answering questions from the community. And all of those webinars are recorded on our Facebook page, but you can also go to our dedicated page, palcus.org/consular resources, to see all of those recordings, as well as lots of other questions and information that you might have about how do I apply for this and what kind of paperwork do I need for that sort of thing. We've done a number of surveys. We've done two, index surveys, but one in particular we did is a voter trend survey. It's the first time there's ever been a data point specifically about how do Portuguese Americans vote. So that information is on our website. If you're curious to hear what the results of that were, it's there. And then hopefully most of you have heard of our Make Portuguese Count campaign, which we ran over the last 2 years to ensure that Portuguese Americans were counted in the 2020 census. And you might think that we have been counted before, but this was the first time that we actually had a code assigned to Portuguese, as well as Azorean and Madeiran. And so we actually, this is the first complete count that we will have in more than 20 years. Now, the census did come out with some data recently, but it did not include the ethnic data that would actually say how many Portuguese are in the country right now. So that's coming at a later date. And then we have ongoing initiatives like our Politicus podcast, which I co-host with Denise. We're constantly recruiting new members to the Portuguese American Caucus and Friends of Portugal. And we mentioned the database. At any point, if you have questions, please, pop your questions into the Facebook chat and we'll answer them live. If you're joining us on Zoom, just put them in the Zoom chat, and happy to answer those. When it comes to leadership, again, we launched our Next Gen Leadership Academy. That is being led by Jordan Thomas, one of our directors, along with Manny Antunes and Jack de Oliveira. This group is completely driven by young Portuguese Americans. So, we provide resources and support and guidance whenever needed, but this really is meant to be an initiative for young Portuguese Americans by young Portuguese Americans. And I'm I'm excited to say that at some point we will be launching a podcast where the hosts are young Portuguese Americans. And so it's all about what does the new generation care about? What do you want to talk about? And what do you want your community to look like? We have a scholarship program that we have been running for a number of years, and we're always looking for new scholarship patrons. So if you would like to start a scholarship in honor of a family member, or dedicated to a particular industry like medical or the arts or something like that, that's definitely something that we can help with. Our internship program, we usually we partner with the Study in Portugal Network, which is a program out of FLAD, to focus all of our internships in Portugal. However, as you know, with COVID, we haven't been able to have summer internships for the last couple of years. And so what we have done is we've had virtual internships, and that has actually helped us as much as it has helped the interns, because it's still given them an opportunity to do an internship, get class credit, give them experience and something to put on their resume. So it's been a great win-win for everyone. We're very hopeful that we will be able to resume the internships in Portugal in 2022 through SIPN. And then some of the other ongoing initiatives that we have an MOU with Católica University in Lisbon, which is a 4-year fellowship. They give 5 every year. 1 is dedicated to a PALCUS member. So for those of you that are looking to study abroad, if you are interested in attending Católica, please apply to this program. You do have to be a PALCUS member to get the one that's dedicated for PALCUS. We also have a couple of pages on Facebook that would be interesting. Info for Portuguese students. So we're always posting information about scholarships, internships, study abroad programs, that sort of thing. So follow that. And if you have a request of us to see the database of educational opportunities, please email us at palcus@palcus.org, and we're happy to send you any information that you're looking for. When it comes to community, again, this is probably our largest initiative because there's so much to do. You can see here, we have the newsletters that are monthly. We have the Friday news that goes every Friday and actually has job listings that is jobs for Portuguese speakers. And we also have members only newsletters because we are really building up our membership benefits. And Elivia was going to talk about that in a little bit. We have webinars and our virtual national conference. We've done a lot more virtually. We have our Portuguese American online gallery. It's a permanent exhibit. It's not something that we put up for a little while and we'll take down after a year or so. This is meant to be a permanent online exhibit to showcase visual art in our community of any kind. So if you are an artist or an artist, encourage you to visit the website and send us your work so we can feature you on the site. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're the only source of national data for the community. And so if anybody ever has to ask the question, well, how many businesses are owned by Portuguese Americans in the country, or how many schools offer Portuguese language? We currently are one of the only sources of data, and we're constantly adding to that data and constantly doing research. So the data is kind of always changing. However, we are the only ones dedicated to that. We've also helped to launch some new networks. So after our national conference a couple of years ago, the Portuguese American Bar Association was founded. And then last year, the Portuguese American Women's Empowerment Alliance was born out of the PALCUS initiative. And then another initiative that is being worked on by some other members is a Luso Health Network. So anybody that's in the healthcare field or medical field looking to create a network for those individuals to, again, not only help each other, but look at, is there an opportunity to do more health research and health education within our community around specific diseases or conditions that are prevalent in our community. And then with COVID-19, we had a number of different efforts to support the community as best we could. And so hopefully some of you saw all of those posts and efforts last year. So this particular series, the United Through Heritage, it launched last Friday, and it's going to go through the end of the year. It was actually some suggestions by some members. We started hosting member-only discussions virtually, and it was at the beginning of the year. We were coming off of the election, things just nationally, Portuguese or not, there was a lot of tension. Things were kind of tumultuous. And so there was this talk about how do we bring our community back together, and how do we, get rid of this tension, and so that we all can all work together again. And it was suggested that why don't we focus on what we all have in common, which is our heritage. And so this idea was born that we would have this series of webinars that highlighted all the things that we love about being Portuguese, the music, the food, the art, everything. And we can even have sessions that talk about our community. And so that's actually what our national conference will focus on this year. We will focus on how do we want the future of our community to look? What do we need to do to keep it going? And so you will see a number of virtual events hosted throughout the year from this point on, with this logo, United Through Heritage. And we hope that this does foster a sense of coming together. And despite all of our political or differences and differing opinions, we can at least always come together around our heritage. So I've been talking a lot, in the last few minutes. I'm going to stop and leave you or Denise, if you have any comments that you'd like to add. Also to see if we have any questions. So leave you or Denise. Anything you'd like to add?
I'll let you answer first if he does.
That's fine. You are the most important person here besides the chairwoman. So I'm just following you. I'm on top of just the picture, but I'm on the bottom. Well, the thing that I just like to reinforce, it's that we are not an elite group. We are open for everybody. Because maybe in the beginning or a few years back, PALCUS was like a group just for elite people. No, we are open for everybody. And when I talk about the membership, I will let everybody know that, yes, we are open. We are open. We are not an elite group, and we are a non-profit organization.
Great point.
I think I could just add, Angela, I know that we're going to continue to have probably some questions as well from those following us. But, perception is everything. And so sometimes folks, have a tendency to look at this organization or another. And I think that PALCUS might be probably the most misunderstood organization in the United States of America.
Possibly, yeah.
Because of the folks in the communities, whether it be the East Coast or the West Coast. We tie a lot of the Portuguese American organizations to the local clubs. Where's your hall at? I've heard someone actually asked me that one time. Where is your club located at? What city? I know you're a national organization, but what city do you have the headquarters of the club? And so for so many years, the Portuguese American community was tied and still is to the local club, the local hall. And so to conceptualize a national organization that is an advocacy group for the continuation of the Portuguese presence in the United States, to promote and to, and to forge coalitions, it's a little bit different concept. And so I think that's probably one of the reasons why sometimes folks still have a question about PALCUS. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's not something that's going to disappear overnight. And I think the younger generation certainly understands the need for national organizations, and that not everything is tied around to a building and to, of whatever type of organization we may have had, and they were important and still are, but some things that were of utmost importance 100 years ago have a little bit different take today. And I like they will have 25 or 30 years from now.
Absolutely. That's great. Thank you both. Something that's very important for everyone to understand is all the work that we do is done by an all-volunteer working board. So we do have one program coordinator that we pay. She is our only paid employee. Her name is Gracie Camillo. You hopefully maybe have talked to her when you've called the office. She helps run our newsletter. She updates our website and things like that. But when it comes to running NextGen, running the webinars, running the podcast, hosting these events, doing the congressional receptions, writing the letters to our legislators, all of those things, everything that you see in our annual report is done by our board, and we're all completely voluntary. meaning we don't have our travel reimbursed, we don't have a mileage stipend, we don't have our, we even buy our own gala tickets when we go to the gala. So there is no financial perks in any way, shape, or form. We all do this for the love of the organization and the love of the community. So I think it's very important for everyone to understand. So how are we funded? The biggest two sources of funding for us are grant submissions. So whether that's we're submitting a grant request to FLAD, organizations like FLAD, or to the Portuguese government or the Azorian government. And there's also been a few US agencies that we have applied to grants for in the past. Our membership dues is a big one, and Elidius, I'm sure, is going to touch on that. And then we try to have some other fundraisers to diversify our income. So we have but a lot of the fundraisers are also program specific. So for example, the ornaments that we do every year, that goes towards either the scholarships or the internships. So that goes towards education. We do have an end of year social campaign, Giving Tuesday, where we ask people to just make general donations. And then sometimes we'll have local events. We have a few things for sale on our site, t-shirts and cards and things like that. We did launch a business marketing program, which is, I think, pretty unique in the community as far as an organization having providing an opportunity for businesses to advertise their products and services. But it's been quite successful so far. And so if anybody has, a product or service, whether it's food or clothing or legal services or anything like that, be happy to give you more information. And then sometimes we have in-kind services donated by individuals or businesses specifically for events. So someone donates wine, someone donates the flowers, things like that. Amazon Smile, it's a great opportunity for us that I think we could bring in so much more. So if you're shopping on Amazon anyway, all you have to do is designate PALCUS as your charity of choice. And a small percentage of every purchase you make will be donated to PALCUS. So it's not that you have to, do anything different or buy anything more. You just have to designate us as your charity. And then there are the options to donate, have donation matching through your employer. So if you're, even your membership dues, you can say as a donation and see if your employer will match your donation. So I think the next one is membership. So I'm gonna leave you take this one.
Okay, I've been in charge of membership since I joined PALCUS as a director, and I'm going to read what you are already seeing it on top. It's anyone can be a member of PALCUS. Yes, anyone can be, and it's very affordable to be a member. As Angela said it like twice or three times, we are an organization, a non-profit organization, and we are all volunteers. So we don't gain anything in dollar amounts to be a director. But of course, being an organization, we have our regular business expenses. And the mainly area that we always focus is to have more scholarships. For us to have our yearly scholarships, right now we have 5, we are shooting for 10 or even more. We need to have members, paying members. And as you can see, the young Portuguese Americans, they only pay $25, so they can apply for those scholarships or for the programs that Angela mentioned in Portugal with the Católica. The general membership is $50, $50 a year. Of course, we'd like to have everybody to be at least an associate, that's $100, or even better, if it's a charter member, $500. But right now, and because again, we are not an elite group, and anyone can be a member of PALCUS, why don't you give us an opportunity to be at your service, send you every single week and monthly our newsletter. In our newsletter, you can see everything that Angela mentioned during this webinar. And that is our way to thank you to be our member. I'll do what you should do to just to be a member. What you have to do very, very easy. Please send us your email, and we will be glad to send you the first newsletter. And on your newsletter, we have all the instructions for you to be a member of PALCUS. Again, not an elite group. PALCUS, it's a service of the community, and everybody, anyone can be a member. And we are a non-profit organization, and all the directors are volunteers. So we are doing that for a cause. The cause is we are trying to help and make PALCUS known within the United States. So please just send us your email. And when we get it, we will send you the newsletter, the monthly newsletter, the weekly newsletter. We do not charge for the newsletters. And you have all the instructions in those newsletters, so you can be able to sign as a member. Okay, it's what I want to have, I already begged so many times, I don't know if I should say it again.
Thank you, Lidio. We actually have our first question from Facebook. We need the communities to know that it's not an elite East Coast group. Have you ever considered having local chapters of PALCUS? So I feel like, and I would love to have Lidio and Denise comment on this, because it's something that we as a board have talked about a lot. And I think the biggest, concern is maintaining the chapters. It's a lot of work, right? So I don't know if Denise or Lidio have thoughts on that, but it is something that we have discussed.
I think it's something that needs to continue to be discussed, because it's a good point. I mean, a lot of the organizations that are national do have local chapters, and maybe we could continue that discussion and maybe even do it at a regional basis. It's kind of tough, but a regional basis, because it is tough to have. The community is changing so much, and I think the new census, that's why we're all looking forward. We're all hanging on to our seats for the new ancestry information from the U.S. Census, because ancestry information, as I explained in a radio program that I have here in California, that Angela is kind of almost like co-host. She's been the guest so many times, which is the information upcoming is really important for us, because our community has changed so much. Elidio is in Florida, and I'm sure he remembers Florida not having as many Portuguese Americans as it has today. Sure, and we all know about the different parts of California that at one time did not have any Portuguese Americans, and the East Coast, the same thing. It's not the community is not basically New England, New York, and New Jersey, and then California. There's folks in the Portuguese American community all up and down the eastern seaboard, and all the way in California, Oregon, Washington, and some of the western states. So to start some local councils or chapters, it would be, I believe, a very good idea, but we'd have to be kind of, how do you upkeep them is very, very important. And I would be only concerned with if we go back to in time. In other words, do we go back and just make a council in New Jersey and then one in California? But what about, the folks in Arizona and Washington or whatever? So we might even think of a regional chapters or something like that. But we are a huge country. And that is one of the challenges I feel for PALCUS is how do you maintain it at a national presence, but at the same time, as it's been said many times, all politics is local. So how do you maintain the local feeling? So it's something that I think the board needs to continue to discuss.
Well, and I would say, for anyone out there listening, and especially if you are a PALCUS member, or if you're not and you're looking to get involved, it would need to be led by folks on the ground, right? Folks who are local. So if that's something. If that is something that you think you might want to take on, which might mean hosting a meeting every quarter or something like that, we would have to kind of figure out what the details of that are. It doesn't have to be a huge ask, right? You just have to have a point person. But I mean, I have to say that the other thing too is, in addition to us not being elite, is that we have taken so many suggestions from our membership and from the community and implemented those suggestions. So we don't just say, we want your ideas and then don't do anything with them. We actually do take them and incorporate them. And sometimes they become a big program like United Through Heritage. And sometimes, this PALCUS member badge was actually a member suggestion as well. So we do truly take the feedback from the community and incorporate it into our agenda and our programs. So this concept of local chapters, if there are people willing to work with us to make that happen, then please let us know, because that is definitely something that we can make happen. All right, so moving on. I did want to talk a little bit about the business marketing program, just because it is I feel so unique, and it also is quite affordable. So for example, if you have a food site or an apparel site, or you're offering legal services, and I will say we get a lot of requests from both here in the US and in Portugal for legal services, specifically immigration legal services. How can I want to move to Portugal, or I have my cousin wants to move here. How can I, get them starting to apply for a visa or, residency, that sort of thing. So we get a lot of those types of inquiries. So that could, if you are in that field, advertising your services there, could be quite good. But again, you can see it's $25 to host to support a podcast, $100 for a dedicated webinar, a dedicated newsletter is $150. So I mean, they're quite affordable. So I definitely please consider doing this with us, and you get the results. We will send you how many people opened the newsletter, how many people clicked on it, how many views you got on your website or your webinar, that sort of thing. We do provide that information. There is power in partnerships, and that is a philosophy that we have embraced for a very long time. And so this is just a sample of the partners that we are working with. And I'm realizing that PBBI is not on here. So this is a very outdated slide. Denise, I apologize for that. We'll update it for tomorrow's webinar. But yeah, Fresno State, we do a lot with PBBI. We do a lot with CPAC as well. So again, if your organization is looking to partner with us, if you have a program you'd like us to share with the community, this is definitely something that we are very, very open to and ask for. A quick highlight that we are very excited about a new web and mobile platform that we are going to be launching. And it will be very interactive. So if you can imagine Facebook and Yelp all in one, but all about the Portuguese community, that's what this is going to be. So it will not only be a website where you can find all the information about the programs and initiatives that we do, but there will be forums, there will be databases, there will be maps, there will be all sorts of great information and ways to interact with other members, groups, and then all of that will also be on a mobile app. And all of it's for free. You do have to register to create a profile, but all of it will be available for free to the community. So we're very, very excited about that. And we hope to be launching it at the beginning of October. So a little longer than we initially thought. We thought we'd be launching it last October, but we wanted to make sure we got it right and built all the functionality into it that we thought was important. And that wraps up our presentation. I hope that we answered some questions about PALCUS. I encourage everyone to visit our website and become a member today. As Eliu showed you, it's very $50, $100 a year. It's quite affordable. It's less than what you spend on coffee in a week, I think. So if you would consider visiting our site, or at least, as he said, signing up for our newsletter, that would be a great first step. And so I don't know that we have any other questions right now, but I think we covered all the main points. Anything else you'd like to add? Maybe actually, I would like to ask Eliu and Denise to share why you both chose to become part of the board of directors for PALCUS.
Okay, now this time I'm going first.
Okay.
Age before beauty. I met the founders of the PALCUS 30 years ago, so 1990. And I always thought that I could help a little bit more than what I saw in the past. PALCUS, it's an organization that it's actually caters everything towards the community. And I've been involved with the community since 1982. Actually, I migrated to the United States in 1978. So in 1982, I started getting involved with the community. And I didn't have too much time professionally. I was really busy, but when I had my first chance to join PALCUS, I really grabbed it so fast because I really believe that PALCUS, being a non-profit organization, is at the Portuguese community service. And that is what I love about PALCUS. I've been here for almost 2.5 years, and I'm very proud to say that I already brought quite a few new members to PALCUS, and I know that after this webinar, we're going to get more. So please, again, everybody can be a member. Just try to send us your email or just get out the information from www.palcus.org. Thank you.
And certainly Elidio shames us all, directors, and when it comes to getting new members. I mean, I get one member and I'm very happy, and then the next week Elidio gets 10. So then I'm very sad that I only got one member. But why did I? Well, I have to be very honest. I joined PALCUS because Angela forced me. But I
begged.
No, you didn't beg. But I was enticed. Let me put it this way. I've had a relationship. I've known about PALCUS since it existed, and in the beginning, I actually had some words of criticism for what I believed was a little bit of an elitist touch to it. Although there's nothing wrong with elites because they changed the world, for the good and for the worse. But indeed, Angela enticed me to join and to be part of the group, and I'm glad I have. I don't know, it's been probably 5 years or so, and I've especially learned a lot from all the different directors. I think it's an opportunity to learn. I've met a lot of interesting people, and the other thing about it is this sense. I believe that we do need a national organization. Firmly, I believe that we have been lacking by not having a national organization that engages with the community, and I have to give kudos to Angela for her leadership the last half a dozen years, because as a chairperson, because she has brought that new level of engagement to PALCUS with the community nationwide. And so I believe that, if we don't have a national voice, it'll be detrimental for the future of the community, because the community is very different. And I've learned to appreciate a couple of things from PALCUS that I don't know what we would do if we didn't have PALCUS. For example, some of the things that Angela mentioned when it came to taking a stand on things that, we all have taken stands, and those of us who are public a little bit more than others, we take our own personal stands, and sometimes we get criticized, and sometimes we get chastised, and sometimes we get actually a compliment or two. But I think it takes courage for a national organization to take a stand on things that are for the betterment of our country, because it is our country. We are all Portuguese Americans, but the majority of them actually are not Portuguese Americans. They're Americans of Portuguese ancestry, such as Angela. Elidio and I can never be an American of Portuguese ancestry because we were born in Portugal. So we are Portuguese Americans.
Right.
We were Portuguese for a while, whether it was 10 years or 20 years or 15 years or 5 months. However, so that, and then some of the webinars, some of the things like the webinar that Angela and I co-hosted, and it could have been anybody else. And I hope that people will have new people, as Angela said, doing the co-hosting of different things. but the one on the LGBTQ rights and in the community. I think these things, are very important. I think they need to be ongoing conversations, and I hope that PALCUS will continue. I'm sure we will, because these topics will need to be discussed. It's good for the Portuguese American community to have a place, independently of ideology, where folks can discuss some of the issues that are pertinent, that are important to us, whether we look at it from the right, the center, or the left. It doesn't make any difference. And I think that's exactly what PALCUS provides. It provides this opportunity for us to discuss these things that are changing in our community, and that are. And I love the theme "United Through Heritage," because indeed, we do need to be united through heritage. Our heritage brings us all together, independently where we are in the political spectrum. And I think the other thing that I give out a big shout out to Angela and the board, the entire board, and Angela's chairperson, is bringing new Portugal to the communities. That is very, very important. Angela just participated in an event that she mentioned the CPAC was part of. We partner a lot with PALCUS. Both of us are on both boards, and one of the things that one young person, which I learned a lot from every day, mentioned was that these things that are happening in Portugal that sometimes we don't talk about in the community, because a lot of times in the community, folks that are second, third, and fourth generation, they may have the sense of Portugal from what their parents or their grandparents or their great grandparents told them. And there's this new Portugal that has opportunities for all of us that are here in the United States, but also this new Portugal that has a different idiosyncrasy. This new Portugal has some of the most liberalized drug policies in the Western world that Canadian people, that Canadian legislators have gone to Portugal and American legislators to learn about this new process and how do you deal with drug use and drug abuse. Some of the most progressive laws, when it comes to the LGBT community, when it comes to racism and some of the other issues that all societies are and refugees that all societies are dealing with. Portugal, this new Portugal, is really taking a step in a very, very updated version that sometimes in the communities we don't know. And kudos to PALCUS that I really enjoyed, that brings these other issues that other organizations are not going to ever bring up. And it's not a knock on anyone. It's just because that's not their nature. I mean, if you are a Holy Ghost Society festa, you exist because you're going to have the Holy Ghost Society feast, a festa. If you are a folklore group, you're promoting folklore group from Minho or from Algarve or from Madeira or the Azores. If you are a soccer club, or a club, an athletic club, you're promoting soccer and other sports. And so PALCUS not having those strains or those possibilities, it depends how you look at it, we deal with other aspects that are important for the community as well. So I think it's a way for us all to bridge together and to unite through heritage, through this new version of Portugal and this new version of the community. So, kudos to everything that's being done, and hopefully more and more members. We need to have a wider membership in all 50 states. It would be great. Mm-hmm. I know that we have, at one time maybe PALCUS had, people in 7 or 8 states. Now it's probably 20 or more, but right. I would love to see the day that we have members in all 50 states. I think we'll get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, those are all really great points. And in fact, one of the sessions of our national conference is going to be the new communities that are evolving in states like Arizona and Texas and even Oregon. And, there's lots of new communities evolving. South Carolina, I think, is a burgeoning community. So to your point, yes, we are expanding and doing new things. And I have to say personally, and I've been involved with the organization for more than 20 years, but in the last few years, it's been so nice to be able to, hey, let's try something new. And we try it and it works, great. If it doesn't work, then maybe we don't do it again. But the team that we've built has been very accommodating and open, and it's been a great few years for sure. And so thanks everybody for attending. Denise and Elidio are actually going to do a Portuguese language version of this same presentation tomorrow. So if you know some folks that think would prefer to hear this information in Portuguese, that will be available tomorrow. So we encourage you to join.
Can I just add that one thing,
yeah.
Angela? And that is
Sure.
it leads you so everyone will understand. It leads you will do a mainland Portuguese accent, and I will do a Zorian accent.
Well,
Okay, so don't be afraid that if you're not, we're going to have both accents on there. So, and I'll try to do one from every one of the islands of the Azores because there are 9 distinct accents, and Elidio will also try to do accents from mainland Portugal north, from Puerto all the way down to Algarve.
I will say vinho instead of vinho. So
Vinho.
Before we finished, I forgot to mention the person that actually invited me and showed me everything about the Palcus before I joined this organization. His name is Fernando Rosa. I cannot, it skipped my mind, but now I know that we have this couple seconds for me to finish. And, yes, I enjoy every minute to be a Palcus director. And I thank Fernando Rosa to invite me to be one. And tomorrow I'm going to feel like a fish in the water because Portuguese is my native tongue, as you guys know. And join that with my good friend Denise Borges is going to be outstanding. Just to say the least.
Excellent.
We'll say some Portuguese American words like freeze a machine and everything else.
Freeze a machine and parquear na street. No, we will see.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Okay. You take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.